Good afternoon. In this video, we're going over this past week's trades and the weekly recap. Before I get into the recap, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. With that said, I finished the week with 17 wins and 3 losses for a win rate of 85%. So definitely pleased about that, considering that this week has been very crazy. I'm just going to jump right into it. See, Monday the 7th, trade ideas room. I said SPY puts under 490. Now, we had just a crazy week. Why do I have VIX up here? Okay. Okay, here it is right here. 490 is right here. I'm not quite sure why I picked, I get why I picked 490, but I get an inverted head and shoulders right here. Look at the left, the head and the right shoulder. I called puts, I don't know why, but regardless, it's Monday. Massive gap downs. We gapped down from what? 510, well, 505 to 488. So we had a $16 gap down, which is crazy. I'm not quite sure why I was calling puts. I don't know. Maybe I was thinking we were going to get some open panic. Usually when we have these big gap downs like that, that's a sizable one. Sometimes we just get some follow through, but more or less they end up squeezing out eventually. But I thought maybe we're going to just drop it at open and have a little more continuation before we reverse. And that's kind of what we did happen. But being Monday, I didn't touch anything the first half an hour. It's been kind of a rule of thumb for me on the first trading day of the week. It's just, you get all the weekend news and pre-market, news, and the market needs to digest it. And usually it just goes haywire the first half an hour, so I don't usually touch it. So I used to, but I've taken too many losses, so I just prefer just to stay out. But you can do what you want. First trade of the day, obviously one of them was blacked out, but that was because that was a VIX trade. VIX was over. Let's get VIX up over here, because I did trade VIX a couple times. I swung it a couple times. This 7th right here, yeah, VIX over 50. To me, I grabbed VIX puts right away. I grabbed the 40 puts. I have to look at the ROM. Yeah, I grabbed the 40 puts at $8.20, and I ended up selling them for like I think 10. Yeah, I sold them for over 12 at 12. So yeah, definitely got a good play out of that. VIX over 50. VIX does not stay above these things. Look, every time it pops up, it gets slammed on the next week. Pops up, gets slammed on that week. Pops up, gets slammed on. To me, this is going to get slammed on if next week, maybe, unless some other news comes out. But VIX does not like staying up. I'll try to bring it out a little more than the 10 years. VIX, couple days, right? Couple weeks, right here, that gets slammed. A week, it gets slammed. A week, it's slammed. Week, gets slammed. All of these are 1 week, pump and dumps. Except this was COVID, so that was a little different. But still, it went to 65 right here, and it got dumped on. Went up to 60, 58, 60, and then it's getting dumped on. So anything that's over 50, to me, grab VIX puts a week or two out, and it just seems like money, but it kept bumping up to 60, 50, and right here 50, then it dumped, and then it gapped down. I sold it, I think, let's see, sold it for 12, but what was that? I think it was the next day. Yeah, the 8th. Yeah, I sold it on the 8th, which is down here. So yeah, Anyways, then I didn't take hardly SPX hardly at all because it was ridiculously expensive. Really, really, really expensive. There was times where at the money SPX was $50. Sometimes at one point it was 70 at the money, and usually it's usually right around seven to $10. If we have an FOMC week, we might see 20, but I mean that's the highest we've seen in a long time. 20 is really high on an FOMC Powell day, but 50, no way. You would have had to go out 150 points. I mean, yeah, there was volatility, but if you got caught in any chop, and if the market and SPY didn't move like $5 to $10, it wasn't going anywhere. So to me, it was just better to trade SPY than it was SPX, and that's what I did most of the week. So I did take SPY calls at 10:28, which is right. Did I get the right day? April 7th, 10:28. Right here. Right. I took calls at 10:28. I see the wick right here. So apparently, I must have bought right down here at the underneath 500. Because I bought the 500 calls at 7:10, and they went from 7:10 to 12:70. So as soon as it went into 500, I'm gonna assume what I did was I bought it right under 500 for a bounce back up. So definitely did get that. So it was 7:10 to 12:70, definitely a good play on that. Then I took calls again at 10:36. I took it again, 10:36 right here in this candle. So 10:28. So I bought it right at the end of this candle, bounced up, and I sold it. And when it came back down underneath, down to VWAP, I reloaded. No, I grabbed puts. Okay. 10:36. I didn't reload. Okay, I grabbed puts. Why would I chase this? Okay, I get what I did here. I got the bounce off VWAP. And did I... I'm kind of scratching my head. I'm making sure I'm looking at the right day. 10:36. Right here. So I must have bought puts under 495. Because I got the 498 puts at $8, and they went from 8 to 14.10. So I'm not quite sure what I did there. Why I did that. If I had to guess, it was probably because I probably went with these two candles right here. See, this is one of the reasons why I do like doing the recaps, because I like to go back and I see in real time with you any questionable things I did, and this is definitely questionable. I can't believe I bought calls off VWAP on a massive drop. It worked out. Then I bought puts down here after these massive drop. This massive pop up. What was that pop? Did they? Oh, this was the day I think they said the news came out saying that the tariffs were going to be paused, and this is when it rocketed. And when it pulled back, that's when I got calls. Then after I got calls, I think, in fact, right when I got calls, someone posted in the room that the White House confirmed that that was not true. And I remember complaining about saying that I wished I'd known that headline came out before I bought calls, because I actually do remember that now. I remember saying something in the room that after I bought these calls, that had someone posted in the room that the White House said that the tariff pause was fake news or fake report. And luckily I was able to get out of the calls, and once I got out of the calls and I broke the 495, I'm going to assume that's when I grabbed puts, thinking that we were going to flush, because this whole pop was based off that headline. So I got the puts drop, went from $8 to $14.10 right there. Then I grabbed calls at 129, which is right here. You can see it's making a little bit of a higher low right here. It's sticking into a range between the 503 to the 495, but once I get out of 503, That's what I bought calls. I bought the 505 calls at 480, and they went from 480 to 685. So that ended up being a good play. So that worked out pretty good. Now the trade ideas room on Tuesday, the 8th. I said, where is it? SPY puts on the 516.50, which is, I gotta back this out a little bit. We closed down down here at 504, 504.50ish, and we gapped up to 521. We had like a $15 gap up, so I was looking for puts on the 516.50, which is right down here at this low. First 10 minute candles red, and it didn't make new lower day. It did break higher day, so I did take puts at 1057. Is right here when it broke lower day. We had a $15 gap up. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it was more than $15. We used about $17 gap up. That's just ridiculous. We should have just dumped it open, but we did pop enough at open. Well, we first at open we dropped, but after we dropped, luring in probably the puts for that gap up, and then making new higher day, taking out the puts that were being bought right here. And then they decided to dump it. So, but yeah, when it took out new lower day down here at the 508, we'll say 518 area, that's when I took the 518 puts at 340, and they went from 340 to 610 in that drop right there. As I mentioned earlier, SPY, I didn't play SPX. I did play SPX at the end of this day, but mostly all SPY. So then it took SPY puts again at 1217, which is right here. Bear flagging a little bit. We broke new lower day under 514. I took the 515 puts at $4, and they went from 4 to 870, making a 100% move. So that ended up being a good play. Then I took puts again at 1257, which is right here. Kind of a gutsy play, but because we made new lower day, green candle. I mean, basically, this was a pretty good play because anytime there was a green candle, they flushed it. Green candle flush, green candle flush, green candle, they flushed it. So this was a pretty big red candle, and then we followed with a green candle, making an FU setup. Well, technically this is too. And then a second FU setup. I did take it. I did take the 510 puts. I think I took it into 507.50 though. I took the 510 puts at no, actually, maybe, you know what? I think I might have taken them underneath the 509 area, to be honest. Anyways, I took the 510 puts at 478, and they went from 478 to 790 in that drop. So that ended up being a really, really good play. And my mistake of this day was taking SPX calls at the last hour. I took it at let's say 307, which is right here. The thing I want to point out is that we're at 525, and we're down here at 5. Now it's a $30 drop from higher day. I thought for sure we were going to bounce the last half an hour, last hour to half an hour. So when we had this green candle, actually I got calls at 307, which is right here. I don't know why I got them right. I must have front loaded them at 495 or 497 or something like that, and it started to bounce. And yeah, I took the 50-50 calls at $7. It started to bounce, and it just dropped, and then it bounced end of the day. I was expecting this massive candle right here, right up here. I should have waited to the 350, because what's been happening is the strong moves happen at 350. They don't usually happen anytime before that. The algos jump in at 350, 355, and they just go crazy. That's why at the end of the day, when you see these massive violent moves, it's at 350, 355, and it's because at the end of the day, algos just jump in and take profit, get out, do whatever. So yeah, I took a loss on that play at the end of the day. And then I took, let's see, on Wednesday the 9th, traded his room. I said SPY calls over 496.50, right? 496.50, which is right up here. Right up here. 496.50, so it's this low right here. Inverted head and shoulders, you get the left, the head, and the right shoulder. So I was thinking, okay, we break this 496.50 area, we're going to pop. First 2-minute candle was green. I didn't take calls until 50. So yeah, 9:52. So it was this candle. Got a red candle right here. So when I got over 500, I grabbed the 500 calls at $7, and it dropped a little, then popped. It got till 504. So yeah, they went from $7 to 850. Got a little bit of a play. This is just a very small range until this happened, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then I took puts at 1007, which is right here. No, right 1007, right here. No, right here. 1007. Yep. I sold into here. Then when it came back down underneath 500 or 498, that's when I decided to take the 498 puts at 686. And then it went from 686 to 830 in this drop right here. It bounced around a little bit, just wicking both sides. And I remember holding through that, thinking, okay, we're going to finally drop, hopefully. And we did. And then I took puts again at 1142, which is right here. I'm not quite sure why I took it there. I should have waited for down here, but I didn't. I took the 495 puts at $5, and some reason I took it right here. I should have. There's no reason for me to take it there. I should have taken it down here, but I did. I took it here, and I got them at $5, and I stopped out at 260. So then we get this massive move right here. This is where they said there was a 90-day pause on tariffs. So I took puts when we got over the 535 area. I missed this monster move. I was not chasing that, but I had a feeling that we were gonna give back a lot of it, because usually we do. And thinking back to the day where they were going to say we paused on, I think it was Monday, and then the White House turned around and said no, that wasn't real. So I was kind of thinking, this might be the same scenario, but the White House actually came out and said it. It was actually a tweet or a news article saying the White House actually said it. But regardless, being above 530, 32, thinking we were going to give us some of it back. So I think I grabbed it in this candle right here. When I grabbed it at 138, yeah, I grabbed it in here. I think I grabbed it over 535. I grabbed the 5,200 puts at 1550, and they went from 1550 to $37, making a 100% move. And we did give it back. Ended up being a good play. Then it just kept going. So it was kind of crazy how that happened. Then on to Thursday the 10th. I sold VIX twice. When did I sell the other VIX? On the 9th. On the 9th. Yeah, I sold VIX on the 8th and the 9th. So yeah, I got it. We go back. Where did I grab VIX on the second one? Yeah, I don't even think I cut it right out. I didn't put it on Twitter. So yeah, I bought VIX again. I had 2 VIX plays. I got a third one holding for the weekend, but I'm not going to go over that VIX play. Anyways, on the 10th, traded his room. I said SPY puts under 532, which is this low right here, right? 532, which is right. SPY puts under 532. Do I get the right day? I do. What time did I call this? 9:21. Oh, so it was up here. So yeah, 532 is right in here somewhere. Yeah. Anyways, first play was 938 puts. Yeah, as soon as it broke 532, I took puts. I took the 530 puts at 550, and then went from 550 to 630, and it bounced up a little bit. Then it came back down. I took puts again at 1052. Just right here, we dropped, and it came back up to VWAP, rejected, and had a nice little bear flag. And once it broke below the 527 area, that's when I grabbed puts again. I grabbed the 527 puts at $4. They went from 4 to 5. Nothing spectacular unless you held it all the way through. Then I took calls at 128, which is right here. It's this exaggerated move. Bounces up the VWAP, rejects, makes a higher low. You got the body, the wick of this candle, the wick and the body of these two candles right here. So I was going to take calls over 520. I took the 520 calls over 520, and I got them for $4.50, and they went from 450 to 930, making it a 100% move on that right there. So that ended up being good. This is not like yesterday. I mean, yesterday. This is what, the 10th on Thursday. This is Wednesday. Tuesday was completely different. You got some green candles in between the red candles, which made it easier to play. But when it's straight red candles, I can't justify just going after straight red candles. So I just didn't want anything to do with that. So for Friday, the 11th, it's at SPY calls over 530, which is up here. Very volatile after hours. We can get up to 530 right here, but let's see. First estimated candle was green. Oh, yeah. I took a couple different plays. So Tesla was one I took. I took Tesla puts at 10 o'clock, and Tesla looked a lot better. It had a strong green candle. Then it had a red candle right here after it rejected this pre-market area of 258, 257. When it rejected that, it came back down. I grabbed puts at new lower day. I grabbed the 250 puts at 251, and they were I got them at $4.60, and they went from 460 to 825. So that ended up being a good play. Then I took Meta at 1019, which is right here. When it broke new lower day, again, same kind of setup, green candle, rejected, came back down, made new lower day. That's when I grabbed the 530 puts at 460, and then went from 460 to 765. So that ended up being a good play. Then I took puts at 1118 on SPY, which is right here. I grabbed it too soon. Yeah, it came up to VWAP, rejected. I should have waited a little longer and got to grab the new lower day, which it never did. Because if I waited for new lower day, I would have never entered. But I did. I grabbed the 520 puts at 450, and then I ended up stopping out at 250. So then I ended up switching to calls at 1214, which is right here in this candle. As you can see, made a higher low right here. It came back up to higher day, rejected this candle, came back down, but quickly came back up. So when it rejects the area and quickly comes right back up, that's what I like seeing that. That usually tells me there's some strength and it's going to pop. They don't usually reject and come back up fast like that. That usually ends up being a trap of some sort. But yeah, when it broke 528 higher day, which is what, 528.75, I took the 529 calls at 340, and they went from 340 to 585. So yeah, played a lot of SPY. SPY was actually moving pretty good. I mean, usually on SPX I like to go for 50 cents to $1, but they were so expensive I really couldn't do it. I would have had to go too far out of the money, or I would have paid $30, $40 per con, which is not, I don't want to do that. And so SPY was the second best thing, but SPY was actually moving, so it was easy to get 50 cents to $1 out of SPY when it's doing $2 to $4 candles like nothing. So makes it very easy. So with that said, that's going to do it for the recap. I hope this has helped. Hopefully next week is better, and SPX is not so expensive. And even in the challenge, I had to use SPY, which it's an SPX challenge, but it's either I didn't take any plays or I played SPY. So I kind of wanted to get some plays and just played SPY, and it is what it is. So that's gonna do it, and thanks for watching.